For this panel, I would like to invite Director Financial Advisory from Deloitte India, Mr. Matthew Mathai, Founder of India Blockchain Alliance, Mr. Raj Kapoor, Director of Infosys Foundation, Ms. Shruti Khurana, Global Lead Community Outreach First Source, Mr. Shankara Mahalingam, Director of Flipkart Foundation, Pooja Trishal, Senior Vice President and Country Head Business Development, Protean eGov Technologies Limited, Mr. Ankush Deshpande. And to moderate this panel, I would like to call upon Mr. Ketan Deshpande, Founder and Chairman of Fuel Group of Institutions.
Dear audience, I think you're listening from the day. A lot of things related to corporate social responsibility. And you also heard about the amendments. Windows update come very fast, so as CSR updates also comes very fast. That's what the news is. But we have a very different topic on technology because we are talking about how to leverage technology in CSR. And we have an excellent panel, and I will be giving them the chance to introduce themselves. But you all see on the back of the screen their names and the giant corporates they represent. I think it is best for me as a moderator to ask directly the questions related to that. Before that, I want to ask a question. How many of you use technology? Okay, so all of you use technology. And do you think technology can be used in CSR also? How many of you believe that technology can be used in CSR also? Fantastic. So we have a great audience, and let me start with Pooja ji from Flipkart Foundation about your thoughts on digital technologies playing a crucial role in transforming CSR initiatives. In your experience and in your sharing, what would you like to share about the technology development in CSR?
So, couple of things primarily. I think in this group, Ketan, the way you asked this question, all of us use technology in our ways of working. It's an intrinsic part of what we are doing today. I think last couple of decades, we have seen a digital revolution, which has become so intrinsic to the way we live our lives today. And when it comes to CSR, CSR we are saying is a part of the larger business to make a difference in the lives of the people at the bottom of the pyramid. So, of course, technology is a very big part of doing CSR in the right manner primarily. Again, if we look at India, in the last couple of years, a lot of public good innovations, be it Aadhaar, be it DBT, UPI, and many others have come in from India. And we have seen how all these innovations have benefited the larger underprivileged or the marginalized communities. So, coming from a CSR perspective and going back to what Gurudev ji said in the morning, while we work for the underprivileged and while we use technology for the benefit of the marginalized, I think most important thing also is to make sure that technology has a human face and it is meant for the advancement of the humanity or the humankind. I'll take a couple of quick use cases being mindful of the time that we have. One is when we are using technology, how are we benefiting the beneficiaries or the people with whom we are working directly? So in that context, again, a lot of us in the CSR space, in all the projects that we work with, we do make sure that whether it comes to the scalability of the projects for the marginalized, when it comes to accessibility part of it, or even the effectiveness part of it, we have been using technology significantly to have better efficiencies, better outcomes in the projects largely, be that working with micro, nano entrepreneurs, artisans, around the skilling space. You can go on, and we can take it up, we have time. But to keep it at a broad level, across the spectrum, skilling, entrepreneurship, healthcare, education, we see how technology is being used big time. The other use case, and I think a lot of us, be that in the CSR space, the corporate foundations, even the NGO partners who are here with us today, we all use a lot of project management tools today to make sure there are efficiencies in the operations that we conduct. And a lot of decisions are data-based in that sense, looking at the trends, analyzing the trends, and making a lot of judicious decisions basing what the project management tools give us glimpses of. And that's where we also see a lot of NGO partners today sharing their projects through technology platforms with us largely. I think quickly to sort of talk about another element is, as corporate foundations, how do we bring employees closer to communities, which we have all been doing through a lot of employee volunteering on the ground. And that's also a space where technology, I can talk from Flipkart Foundation, it has really helped us using technological platforms has helped us to sort of, increase it multifold and create a kind of a win-win where the communities benefit, employees draw a sense of satisfaction. Again, because as a Flipkart team, we do a lot of work with the customers or the consumers on the ground, and that's also one group. So essentially what I'm trying to do is give a larger 360-degree perspective of how we work with different stakeholders and engage with them through different technological platforms largely. So you working with or engaging with the consumers in the sector and how we provide them opportunities to provide a nominal amount towards community development. So you don't necessarily need to be ultra rich to get into philanthropy. You can do your own bit and draw a sense of satisfaction doing that. So we have seen how technology is a game changer and can really help us build inclusive societies and bring people at the bottom of the pyramid in the development framework. I'll stop there.
Thank you so much. Very interesting point of, I think, nano entrepreneurs and excellent work being done there. Moving on from the nano entrepreneurship to, I think, blockchain. And Raji, you're the founder of India Blockchain Alliance. There's a lot of buzz now about startups and incubators is there. And they drive innovation, that is what is said. How do they contribute to building center of excellence for social delivery or collaboration ecosystem within the context of CSR?
Yes, it's a good question because that's where a lot of innovation comes from. Instead of going too deep dive into the academics of it, let me give you what it actually, the results of putting up a great center of excellence in a couple of universities across the nation. Right now, we've put up about 30, 40 centers of excellence around sustainability, ESG, and around the UN SDGs, helping the CSR space. Now, I have a small video which I hope these guys will play. But in the meantime, I'll give you 3 examples of what real good technology can do for real world life. We have a lot of CSR initiatives. One of the more common ones which I've seen is, for example, planting trees. Where somebody says, where do you get technology and planting trees? Yes, kya sambandh hai? There is a great one. We've actually prototyped and patented a technology where we share APIs for every tree planted. We put in an IoT chip wherever it's planted, so you can actually measure the health of the tree from day one. It doesn't finish when you plant a tree and say goodbye, get photo ops done, everybody's happy, clap, everybody gets the right stuff, and then it's finished. How do you know? I see, for example, 81.3 million trees planted by the Art of Living. How do we track them? Do we know what's happened to them? Are they still alive? Somebody taking care of them? Or somebody's just taken money and said, I put 5 seeds and said 500 seeds? There is got to be accountability. Blockchain, for example, brings in that accountability. And not just blockchain itself, technology, I say. There's another project which we're doing, which is very nice. And I'm talking about projects because these are real-world examples of how tech and CSR are not only combining, but forming a beautiful confluence. So it's called the sea. Now, how many of us know that our seas are dying?
Rahul Das, can we have the video, please?
Yes, I'd like to show this little video if they can put it up for us. This is the video of an actual project which is now being taken up by United Nations, set up
Wonderful.
in an incubation in a university. Have a look in UK. Have a look.
Excellent, Raj.
Yes. I'll tell you what C does. It's the world's largest citizen scientist program. And you know what? It's running everywhere in the world, but not in India. Why? Because wherever I go and talk to corporates, they said, it's okay. Mostly they're in Gurgaon, so we don't know much about the sea anyways. So,
Now you're in Bangalore, probably they're listening to you.
yes. All right. So, yeah, it's good. If United Nations listens, maybe some corporates will listen to us. The idea is to spotlight the climate change we are facing. Can we stop it? We cannot stop everything, but can we prevent it or push it further? Yes, we can. And maybe we can prevent it in the future. What do? We use 3 technologies and a 4th analytical tool. We use IoT sensors in your mobile phones. Absolutely. When you switch on your mobile phone, it's on. You don't need to pay anything for it. The IoT sensors capture all the data which you saw. Environment, temperature, etc., locks it onto the blockchain because blockchain is immutable. It takes all the information from other weather stations, research stations, universities, etc., locks it into one single source of truth, blockchain. Then we use artificial intelligence to create models, do analytics, and then figure out what is the best situation for which area, and also give the same information to ships to travel safely across the globe, carrying the good stuff. That's a great example of what we can actually do with technology. There are many more, but I think we'll stop for now. Plenty more.
And what's interesting is so many center of excellences you are trying to build. And
this has been built by youngsters. If you see the people out there, there are mostly, I'm the oldest guy. At 62, I'm the oldest guy. The rest are all, 20, 25?
we thought you're the youngest guy.
Okay, I'm 25 with 37 years experience. Fine, let's keep it at that. The bottom line is youngsters come up with the ideas. They are very concerned about issues like global warming, their sustainability. But who's there to guide them in this technology space? So we're trying to best to guide them, and happy to guide all universities, colleges anyway.
Sure, that's a wonderful topic which Raj has created for the startups and innovation. From startups and innovation, let's move to building collaborative frameworks. And I think Shruti ji has a vast experience of building this kind of strategies and approaches with the government, stakeholders, and so much is important. And I think we had a pre-call and you shared how important those stakeholder engagements are, and you are so highlighted that you are leading those efforts in your so much work which you have done already. So we want to know how this can happen and how we can build collaborative frameworks, especially for the technology enablers and corporations to boost sustainable CSR initiatives.
So from my experience, I'll try and break it down a little bit without going too deep. Why partner with the government, right? So there's government, there's NGOs, there's tech enablers, and then of course there's other corporates. So why should we partner with the government? Again, you do not reach mass scale without considering government into the picture. That's one of the strongest ways to reach scale, no matter which field you're in, which social impact you want to make. It's a fact. So that's why you need to amplify your potential. Otherwise, you will reach a plateau at some point. Second, why partner with other NGOs and what are the different ways? Bit of a no-brainer there. Do not reinvent the wheel. Go to where the expertise lie. We haven't spoken about innovations in a very deep manner. But innovations, especially, we're seeing a lot of them in the low-cost healthcare and education space. This provides access for people who would not have been able to afford the treatment otherwise. It's life-changing in a sense. So being able to partner with NGOs, one on a one-by-one basis, based on which area of interest we might have, for instance, innovations, or look at other areas where there is expertise. And here I'd like to just elaborate about the kind of landscape there is. So for the area that you pick, the landscape could be completely different. So you need to understand that. For instance, in mental health, the landscape is such where you don't have many major players that can encapsulate and reach out to all of India. Then how do you take mental health where it's available to as many people as possible? In that case, then you look at multiple NGOs. Tech enablers also come in there. Now, there are other, if you're lucky, in areas such as education, you could have, say, a Ramakrishna mission that is spread out all over the country and provides decent quality education. Or say an Akshay Patra, which can provide midday meals across the country, across different states. So that's why partnerships with NGOs is important. Tech enablers, of course, they amplify your potential. Your one initiative could go all the way to the remotest corners of our country, to the rural areas, to the urban areas, and we've done that in education. Then, of course, there's corporates. Why should we collaborate with other corporates? First, the exchange of industry knowledge. And second, when you bring it all together, including with the corporates, you could potentially accomplish a super big goal in a very short period of time. For instance, we could take up educating 100 million children in a year if all or a bulk of corporates come together. And for that, we will need the tech enablers, we will need the NGOs, we will need the government, and we need the good intentions. Like Guruji said, the heart of CSR, right? You need that. It has to be delivered through the heart. So that's where I see the potential of collaboration and how these kind of frameworks work. Mind you, it does come with challenges, a lot of them at that. But in the end, if the challenges can be worked through, and they can, considering where we are at now, it is a win-win for everybody. But most of all, I think it's a win-win for that one child or that one woman who can come out of poverty, who can earn a livelihood and provide for her children. I think that's the heart of CSR.
No, I think wonderfully put, and I think what essence we get is partnering with government force multiplies the impact and ensures the beneficiaries reach in a more greater way. So thank you for sharing that insight. And from Shruti ji moving to Shankara sir, I think you are doing the global lead of community outreach at First Source. And as we heard Raji about the blockchain and the new emerging technologies are happening. And I'm sure being the capability center or delivery center, how do you see blockchain is enhancing the trust in the CSR initiatives which you are doing? And additionally, we also wish to know how organizations can effectively integrate these technologies into real-time CSR. I think you have done some work in that area. Just we thought you can share that also.
Absolutely. Maybe first I will talk about tech and CSR. Maybe that will give you some perspective and move to blockchain. I will give you some examples of how we are utilizing. 2 weeks back, I had CXOs volunteering in Mumbai. They came for a board meeting. I told them to volunteer, so they accepted for that. And the first event was to connect them with the school, which was around 400 kilometers away in Ahmednagar district. So they were sitting in Mumbai and volunteering for a school in Ahmednagar district, 2 villages. We have set up a digital infrastructure there to make corporate citizens to conduct online classes. And then I completed, we exchanged checks for Rotary Club for cataract surgeries. The MOU was signed using an automated tool in our organization. So then coming to, if you say, coming back to next weekend, Saturday, we are going to attend, IIT is doing their first flagship CSR summit in Madras. And the topic is Build India 2047, Innovative Technology for Tomorrow. So great institutions have started to realize that technology will play a vital role through CSR. That is the major reason of that. And the same Saturday, we are going to do another STEM carnival in China. 25 schools are going to participate. Few schools are funded by First Source, where we have set up STEM labs to empower the children. And they will be putting up their demonstration in a single venue. Then coming here within there, we have a Nirman team. We have used Nirman organization. We have partnered with them to set up tele-ICU spots in primary health centers in rural villages in Telangana. And they are connected with main medical institutes in Hyderabad. So specialist consultation happens without traveling for the villages. At the same time, if you come out, we have, I think Akarsh is there for Thinker Bells. We have set up self-learning Braille gadgets in 3 blind schools across Mumbai, Hyderabad, and Bangalore, where visually challenged students can self-learn in a very gamified way. And it's a beautiful invention. It's a Shark Tank winning project of Tinkerbells, which we have implemented. So these are the huge ways of how we are investing. And I forgot to tell, I used Copilot to gather some ideas on blockchain for this panel discussion. So this is the impact of technology for CSR. So it is everywhere. You cannot, it is inseparable. You cannot remove that. You have to go with that. And it is very essential. Coming to the blockchain, there are some great personal experiences. One is we have a beautiful social activist called Sri Watson. He is from Chennai. He is a deaf photographer. So how he became popular was, he was actually a photographer. He was teaching many people on photography through his skills. And one time he went to UP for taking some exclusive cultural carnival. He captured there. And when he was rolling out in the Twitter, he saw some NFTs, newfangled tokens. And he just put up his the photos as a digital art. And it was sold within 30 minutes. And he got to gain that it is giving something to him. And through that, last year, his photos were displayed in New York through the NFTs initiative. So he is now popular photographer, digital artist in India. Similarly, Raigad district administration have used blockchains to make sure the growth of the trees they have planted across the district. They have started using it on blockchain. And similarly, if you see Sankalpataru, an NGO in India based on environmental, they have beautifully started because I am planting a tree. So I want to plant a tree in my district, Rameshwaram. I can plant a tree, I can see the growth of that. It will be tagged to me. It will be actually, you cannot duplicate it, like Raj was mentioning about what they are doing. So many beautiful things are there. Actually, in 2019, what I saw in the research paper was there is a huge push by world leaders to adopt blockchain. But unfortunately, the 2020 pandemic put a big halt on that. They were not able to utilize it. Yeah. So I'm sure it is picking up now, slowly. And as blockchain has played a very vital role in banking, from the CSR perspective, it will be a very, very important aspect in healthcare. It will be a very, very important aspect in environment, and then comes to education for me. Because all the environmental projects and the healthcare need to be very, very transparent. It should be traceable. It should be efficient. And these three things blockchain does for us. So
wonderful. I think environment, healthcare, and education.
Absolutely.
Those are the three very critical areas you think.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. And moving from you to the organization who is a government subsidiary and does a lot of work in scholarships, Ankushji, your question to you is how organization can leverage technology, and especially being from the government side of it and into a private sector. It's quite an interesting collaboration you have already done within yourself, where you are partly a government and partly an IT solution for technology. So what do you think this data-driven approach, how does it create success to CSR programs? If you could like to share some highlights on that.
Thank you, Ketan. Just to clarify, we are not government, we are totally private. Just got listed also 2 months back. But yeah, technology, and we are the company which focuses on the technology. As I said in my presentation also, we have developed the entire taxation for the country, the pension for the country, and so on and on. But technology is what we believe is playing an important role in every walk of our life. Let it be our education, our learning, our entertainment, every part of the work or how we operate, technology is having a huge impact. And organizations cannot ignore that. If they are not digitally transformed, they are in the process of that. No organization is untouched of digital transformation. That's what we believe. With the help of digital transformation, and particularly CSR also, true for all the aspects, but for CSR also, we can now move very fast. We can move in a transparent way, in very cheap possible way. The cost of the administration, which was very high, which is still very high in some part, that can be brought down hugely, and as Gurudev said in the morning also, should be less than 10%. That is what we are also trying to do. So that is what technology with our platform, what Vidyasarthi we are trying to achieve. And that's what we have developed so far. So one way of doing it is to give the data. I mean, there is huge data available in the market, but what kind of a data needs to be used for effective CSR implementation and effective use of our funds, that is important. Then the reporting, because giving the scholarship or giving the money to any person, any student is one thing, but whether the reporting and whether it is really needful student, whether that dashboard is available to the management on a real-time basis. One of the speakers also said it in the morning, and that is what we provide. So on real-time basis, you can monitor what kind of funds to whom you have delivered to reach to the every nook of the country. I mean, to give the scholarship sitting here in the northeast, sitting here in the southernmost state of the country, that is what is, with the smallest possible cost, that is what is required and that is what our platform is doing.
Very
So I believe
interesting.
these are the things which needs to be taken care by technology, and that's what we are trying to do with the help of technology.
Wonderful. I think we heard this side of perspectives, and the people who are engaged in guiding the corporates and I think leveraging the policies are the big fours. And we have a representation of the big four here in the representation and form of Mr. Matthew. Matthew, the last question of this panel and very critical is how do you perceive the role of digital technologies in reshaping the CSR endeavors, and especially bridging the digital divide between the CSR initiatives and their tangible impact on communities?
Thanks, Ketan, for saving that best question for me for the end. Okay, so I have a slightly different take on it. I think my fellow panelists have really spoken about how technology has acted as an enabler, acted as a disruptive force in implementation, not just for CSR, but if you look at any philanthropy or any development sector project. When we're talking about bridging the gap, like I said, since we work very closely with a lot of the not-for-profit sector and players within the corporates, helping them either with capacity building or with monitoring a lot of their projects. When you look at the growth and the speed at which technology has progressed, 40, 50 years ago, there was largely radio and there was telephones, and then we anchored our lives around that with the advent of the internet. Especially for the development sector, everything started becoming digitized. And today, when we're looking at just the penetration of smartphones, even amongst rural communities or access, I think Shruti was mentioning, how healthcare now is much more accessible to a lot of people because you can get diagnostics on your phone. People in remote areas can get tele consultations done. For me, when I'm evaluating a project, if I'm looking at something, I think it's always going to be limited and rooted to the person wielding that technology. So I think one important way that as we're moving forward to looking at and kind of bridging certain gaps, this is something that resonated well with a lot of my corporate clients as well. Is how do we design programs that actually leverage technology? We've got so many different areas in which CSR is now being deployed. Climate change, food security, sustainability are obviously big key terms. But can we integrate technology as part of our program design? Monitoring, people joke with me and say that once dashboarding happens, consultants like you will be out of a job. And honestly, that's not a bad thing, because if you have technology, but is it being used correctly? Is the data being analyzed properly? Are we putting enough checks and balances to validate the data that comes in? I definitely see as the next 5 years, we're talking about the journey that CSR has taken over a period of 10 years. Of course, technology has helped shape this, and we do envision a lot more dashboarding, a lot more digitization of programs over the next decade or so. But I hope that we also focus on building capacities and enabling the people who are going to be wielding them. So whether it's all the way at the grassroots, whether it's our NGO partners who are collecting this data, or whether even it's our corporate CSR teams who are working with NGOs to create that ecosystem. That was my limited points takeaway.
Wonderful, and I had a first-hand experience working with Matthew in technology and monitoring, and I think the role of the Big Four is quite big there in monitoring that data. And I think on behalf of all the panelists, and I think since our host is already here, so I'm assuming the time is almost over, but just to summarize all the points, and please correct me if the panelist, if I go something different, but according to us, Poojaji from Flipkart mentioned digital revolution is very big part of CSR, and benefiting to marginalized communities is very important. Technology is a human face. It is made for making good people. I think that was a very interesting point we had. From Raj's point of view, I think it was very interesting to see how youngsters are more concerned, they need a guiding light, and technology plays a role in even planting a tree and many other areas. I think that was very interesting, Rajiv, from your side. Shruti ji, I think you can't reach mass scale without the help of government to amplify your potential. I think this was very important point we felt, and innovation in healthcare to reduce the cost. I think that's something very interesting point. From Shankar sir, I think environment, healthcare and education and banking sector technology also plays a very vital role, which you highlighted. And on behalf of, I think, Ankush, smallest cost to reach all over the country and smallest funds can make you reach to the country. It's a very interesting point which Ankush ji mentioned. And finally, Matthew mentioned about growth and speed of technology is more. Bridging the gaps by designing the programs that leverage technology and use the technology correctly. That's the message from all the panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a round of applause for all the interaction they did. Thank you.
I'd just like to add one little line, just one line. Don't worry, it won't take time. This is for anybody in the CSR space. The world's first CSR Center of Excellence, Research and Technology is being set up in Bombay, in Thane, and the inauguration is actually happening today. I was to be there, but I'm here. And a big round of applause for very sound business people, Sangeet Kumar, Deepak Jain, who are part of this initiative. So all ideations now can be done there by government, corporates, and institutions. So it's open for all. I just wanted to share this with all of you because we are in the CSR space. Okay, I'll go first. We are doing a project right now in Nigeria, and this is something which may have interest because in the healthcare space, and you mentioned healthcare is one of the key, and I believe, and I agree with him. Has anybody used, Digi Yatra for traveling?
Of course.
Yeah. Now, we are using that technology because we built that technology, taken over by Adani's, that's a different matter. But we built that technology married it with blockchain to do what? Now, in community clinics all over Nigeria, in a particular area called Abuja, one state of Abuja within Nigeria, all the community clinics scan your face and have all your medical records the minute you walk into this. That's a great use of blockchain and AI. All your medical health records are locked onto the blockchain, so they can go into any clinic wherever they are and they will get the same information. It's just by their facial recognition. That's good crazy because they don't know anything about technology. For them, the person in front should know exactly what my problem is. I have forgotten some papers, I've forgotten my x-rays. Come on, guys. You're not going to carry these papers anymore. We are moving towards a paperless economy. We talk about saving trees. Where's the paper coming in the picture? Here's one guy here who actually talks a lot about recycling. There you are. Okay? I was talking to Karana here. So that's one good use case. So all your electronic health records are in one place, accessible only when you give permission. Right now, it's with everybody. Anybody, and you can sell it, make money out of it, and the poor guy who's unwell doesn't make money out of it. COVID has seen many such things. Like, I don't want to give names. India, a lot of companies made a lot of money due to COVID. So healthcare becomes a very important space where technology and interventions. Not only that, we can use the data which we have, use artificial intelligence to make sense of their longevity, what sort of medications they really need, their body type, their nutrition. So that's the whole project going on. It's backed by the government of Nigeria. I hope if we got some good connections in India, let's have some talk there as well. We need it. We've got a lot of malnutrition people out here. So it's also to fight malnutrition. So we are using technology to fight malnutrition and bring in health records in one standard database.
Thank you.
Just to add on that, I'm sure you are aware, government has already designed a scheme, Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. So we are and this is what, as Raj has said, eliminating the paper, but the system needs to be ABDM enabled. So all the ecosystem partners in that area needs to be ABDM enabled. And when I say that all the ecosystem, of course, the people or the students should have the ABDM ID, digital ID. And then the ecosystem partners like the hospitals or the clinics or the medical stores, everybody should be a part of that ecosystem. So we do provide these kind of facilities and we do make the ecosystem partner enabled with ABDM.
Let me clarify. I said I'm already working in the digital health space. Raj talked about, Raj?
Yes.
Yeah, here.
Well, I was giving a great example.
You're telling about the benefits of digital health. What I was trying to say is we are already working in this area. We already reached out to 20,000 kids across the country.
Yeah.
What we are looking for is how can we partner with all of you guys.
It's very simple. Just
How can we
meet
reach
me
out
when
to
I
you?
get off the ramp, and I'll shake hands with you, give you my card, and that's done. Okay? I'll do that for you. I'll answer it offline, no problem.
Sure.
You can take my card, no problem. And connect with me on LinkedIn. That's the easiest way to get in touch with me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Raj, for answering that question. Thank you so much, panel. Let's give them a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen,
Shruti had a point.
I think I get what he's asking. If I can take 30 seconds. I think what you're looking for is how to approach corporates, right? You need to understand the priorities of that particular company or foundation, and a lot of that can be understood from, for instance, seeing their last annual report. And if they're into digital health, then you can approach them with, usually they're looking at scale. So something like a pilot, if you haven't worked on it yet, or if you have, then yes, this is the proof, and now we can scale it, and we need your help too. And then you look at, we look at, in the CSR world, output, outcome, and impact.
Financial Advisory, Deloitte India. Up next, we have Mr. Raj Kapoor, founder, India Blockchain Alliance. Shruti Khurana, Director, Infosys Foundation. Shankara Mahalingam, Global Lead Community Outreach for Source. And Pooja Trishal, Director for Flipkart Foundation. Let's requesting panel to come together for a group picture with Dr. Sandeep. Please come together for a group picture.